Hello, greetings. This is not so much a Gorian topic as an anime review, but it's a bit of both. Because what I want to talk about here is Fencer of Minerva, which a lot of people say is the anime version of Gore, just with the serial number filed off, and is that it's as close to Gore as you can get without violating copyright. And even the Wikipedia page about the Gore saga currently puts Fencer of Minerva under adoptions. And to that I say, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. So, let's begin by what is Fencer of Minerva. Fencer of Minerva is a 5-episode anime series. It is hailed as being hentai. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically anime and manga porn. I don't really agree, because while there are sex scenes, that's not what it's about. It would be like calling about any modern TV series or movie for porn because there's a sex scene in there. Like take True Blood. It's clearly porn because there's sex in there. So yeah, I don't agree. I mean, it's not about the sex. There are sex, but it's not what it's about. At best, it's a plot with porn, as they nicely call it. But yeah, I wouldn't really call it a hentai. It's fantasy. So yeah, are there similarities between Fencer of Minerva and the Gore Saga? Yeah, absolutely. However, it has almost none of the philosophy, so I would say that for people that are into the philosophy part of it, while it might be a fun story, it definitely won't give you much there. So, let me start by telling you a little bit about the anime, and then we can discuss some similarities. So, the anime is about this kingdom called Doria. And there you have, and the king has a son called Shu. And he has a childhood friend called Diana, who is the daughter of the captain of the guard. Now, in the first episode, the captain of the guard staged a coup d'etat and becomes the king, and Shu is driven out. And then we have skipped to some years later when these people are adults, and it's all about basically a political ploy for securing Doria. So yeah, the world is somewhat superficially similar to Gore in that it's they doesn't go out and directly say it that it's on a different planet. I would probably guess that it is, because the sky looks quite different. It doesn't have 3 moons, but it's clearly not Earth. And it is the same technological level, meaning Bronze Age around there about. And the animals that are used for riding and such are somewhat similar. You have some 2-legged, somewhat lizard-like, but with fur creatures they call horses that are pretty similar to what you find in the Gore Saga. And they also have flying creatures, though they look more like a mix between birds and dragons. So you have that as a similarity. Other than that, the society are very male-dominated. Female slavery is extremely common, and while they don't exactly copy the outfits of the Gore books, I would probably think that people in the Gore books would approve of the slave outfits. You can definitely get that vibe there. And what else? Yeah, free women. The high-ranking free women do cover their faces. And face stripping is a thing. That you have a tribe of people that are nomads, and they are pretty similar to their counterparts in Gore. What else? You have city-states. And yeah, that is about it. Those things are pretty similar. And the female slavery aspect is very much a central part. So I can see why a lot of people that aren't extremely familiar with the Gore books will see Fencer of Minerva as being very, very similar. So yeah, of course, Diana ends up as Shell's slave pretty quickly. In fact, all the free women in the series, another similarity to Gore here, all the free women in the series, except one, end up a slave by the end of it. And that one, she dies in the first few minutes of the series, so I guess they just didn't get around to her. So, and you have a lot of the same things that the slaves want to be slaves. They are a bit resistant in the beginning, and then they are full on sluts and want to have sex with everybody, and, well, not actually, but their masters, actually, and are completely fine with it. So, again, superficially, somewhat similar. The main plot actually revolves around, basically, it's a bit odd story progression, because episode 1 and 2 is about Shu regaining Doria from the captain of the guard, and then later because this man that's become king, he has planned to wed his daughter to the son of the king of Quag, and I wish I was making these names up. And yeah, and you have a whole lot around that. Then you have episode 3, that's a bit odd because it doesn't fit in anywhere, where you have Shu and Diana out traveling, and they help a man and reconnect with his slave, and there's a plot to take over an apartment, and there's take over some inheritance, and then there's this haughty free woman, and of course she ends up a slave at the end of it. And then by episode 4 and 5 is about basically it's 3 kingdoms that want Daria, and that is well, of course, Daria itself, and then you have Quag, and you have the trade correlation of Sauce. And basically it's about the plotting and scheming between there to keep Daria safe. That's why I'm saying this isn't porn, because it's about politics. That's the main thing about it. It's about politics. It's slaves and politics. That's what it is. But anyway, so let's discuss some dissimilarities between Gore, because what I've said so far would probably make you think that, yeah, it does sound pretty gory-like, doesn't it? Well, here's the thing. The philosophy that you find in the Gore books are basically completely non-existent. It's not discussed, it's nothing. Yes, you have warriors, yes, you have all of that, but it's pretty non-existent. Then you have the relationship between the masters and the slaves, which are pretty different. First of all, there's a lot of consent going on, and while real-life Gorean lifestylers practice this with consent, in the books they definitely don't. So it's a lot. And then we do that, if that's okay with you, slave. And also, there's a lot of topping from the bottom. I mean, Diana, let's see. At one point, she all but rapes her master. He says, no, I'm not really into sex right now. You're not into sex? Well, I want sex. Go at it! There's another slave that actually also all but rapes her master. At least she applies a lot of pressure. And 2 times she just, Diana just goes above Shu's head, changes the plan, and just go off. Yes, it does then work out, but yeah, I mean, you could say that the relationship between these, between the masters and the slaves, that's a submissive girlfriend, dominant. And while there's a lot within the Gorian lifestyle where it becomes very much that, I wouldn't say that it's very similar to the Gore books. I can't imagine one single male character in the Gore books that would take that kind of bullshit from Diana. Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's a good, it's good if you can find it subbed and not dubbed, because the sub is okay. For an early 90s pretty low end production. The dub, however, is outrageous, but we'll get to that. Anyway, it's a pretty good kinky romance story mixed in with politics and fantasy. So if that's your thing, it's not a bad show to watch. I mean, it doesn't take up a lot of time. It's 5 45-minute episodes. That's not that bad. And it do have a conclusion. It has an okay storyline. I mean, it's not exactly Shakespeare. It's not bad. But Gore, no. I mean, and you can say, yeah, but isn't it that just show because he has grown up with Diana, she's his childhood friend, and so on? No. There are a few other master and slave couples there, and they do exactly the same thing. There's a high degree of consent, and the slaves top from the bottom a lot. No, I'm not saying that subs always top from the bottom. That's not what I mean. But I'm saying that it's the relationships doesn't really match, because while in the Gore books you have masters definitely take into consideration the wishes and needs of the slaves, it's not in that way like that. For example, there's one section there where basically Shaw and Diana are visiting the king of Quag, and he has sent a spy as a slave to their to attend them. Now they are having a discussion loudly to give her misinformation, and Diana just goes off script and Shaw says, this isn't what we were talking about, and she goes, but what we're doing is this way. So yeah, that's not very gory at all. So yeah, that part really isn't gore. It's so, I mean, the relationship, sure, they might look a little bit like Gorian slaves, but no. Also, I would say that when it comes to, if you look at Diana, she's not a bad character, I say. But here's the thing, would she be the poster girl for a Gorian slave? No. Among other things, because she is more than willing to die for what she believes in. For example, it is pointed out that if she was ever taken from show, she would kill herself rather than serve another master, which is more what a free woman would do. At one point, her intended fiance kidnaps her, he rapes her, and she murders him in cold blood. And he's an asshole by all means, so nobody knows that. But yeah, it's not so much. Oh, so you did that. That happened. Well, interesting. We'll have none of that. Here, taste cold steel, asshole. That's not really what says Gorian slave to me. She also is one heck of a swordswoman. In fact, I think it's indicated that the Fencer of Minerva is Show, but no, I actually, because Diana is the main character, I actually think it's Diana that's the Fencer of Minerva. Let's see, she has several battles. She at one point takes a sword, sits with a blade to her throat, threatening to kill herself if somebody doesn't release show, and I actually need her at that point. So she do a lot of these things that I would attribute to free women instead. To me, she is a typical example of somebody like me. I mean, I like her. I like her character. Somebody like me who are sexually submissive, but identify as a free woman. And actually that's sort of how she ends up. She becomes the willing slave of Shou in the end, but are still the queen of her nation. So yeah, I would say, yep. A sexually submissive free woman, that's why I would call her. And so there's a lot of things that doesn't really fit with Gore. So, would it surprise me if the creators of Fencer of Minerva have seen or have read the Gore books? No. It would surprise me if they haven't. But I definitely think it's much farther from it than just you file the serial numbers of it. I do not think it is worth being called an unofficial anime of Gore. So yeah, does it have similarities? I do think that people that that only into the female slavery part of Gore might like this, and especially those that I like to call romantic Gores, that basically what they are after are a romantic submissive girlfriend relationship, but they just base it on the Gore things with having those names, those positions, and so on and so forth. Nothing wrong with that, but I think that those people might really like this series. And for that matter, people that like political animes or who like kinky animes with a bit of romance in it. So yeah, no, it's not Gore the anime, but there are enough similarities that a lot of Koreans might like it. So now let's discuss two more things: the sex and the dub, both of which aren't very good. The sex are boring, which one more thing it actually has in common with the Gore books, because while the Gore books do a lot of building up, but the description of the sex scenes generally aren't that interesting. And the same here, you have a lot of, yeah, it's bad, it's very bad. But on the other hand, oh, sorry, that sound is my dishwasher. On the other hand, there are a lot of boob massaging, so if this action here is turns you on, boob, 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 then you'll have your fill here. Other than that, the sex scenes they are not very long, they're not very detailed, they are... If what you're looking for a hentai, there are so much better things out there. Now let's get to the dub. Now, granted, I usually prefer the subs to the dubs, but oh, this is the worst dub I've ever heard. So for that reason alone, usually I would say don't pirate things, just get the DVDs. But no, in this case, don't get the DVDs, because just find it online, but you can find it with the sub, because the dub is... First of all, for the normal talking, it's you just can imagine the actors reading from a script. Yes, my king, it seems that there are envoy from the Source Trade Federation are here to talk with you. It goes in that. And for the sex, I mean, they literally actually say ooh ah. Ooh ah, oh yes, my master, I am so turned on. More. And I'm not making this up. I am not exaggerating. Find an episode to have a listen. It's there. So yeah, I mean, it's so bad, it's painful. But yeah, other than that, the character designs are okay. The animation are okay for the talking sequences. For the action, not so much. It's, I would say, a middle of the 90s anime. But yeah, so is it gory anime? No. Is it an extremely good anime? No. It has some good parts. Just watch it subbed. And yeah, that is my little review of Fencer of Minerva, as well as a comparison with Gore. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Have a great day, and blessed be.